What it's like to live in Gaza, a land shaped by history. There are places in the world where history feels distant, where the past is something you read about, not something you live inside. And then there is Gaza, a place where the past is never really gone, where every street, every building, every life sits on top of layers of history stretching back thousands of years. Empires have risen here. Armies have marched through it. Civilizations have fought over it. And yet, people remain, living, adapting, enduring. Because in Gaza, history is not behind you. It surrounds you, a city at the center of everything. Gaza is small, just a narrow strip of land along the Mediterranean coast. But its importance has never been small. For thousands of years, it sat at the intersection of continents. To the south, Africa. To the north and east, the great empires of Asia. This made Gaza something rare. Not just a city, but a gateway. Caravans passed through it carrying spices, textiles, and ideas. Armies passed through it carrying ambition and destruction. Ancient Egyptians held it. Canaanite societies built in it. And later, the Philistines made it one of their key cities. Even ancient religious texts remember Gaza through figures like Samson, a reminder that this place has been part of human storytelling for millennia. But being important comes at a cost, because every empire that rises eventually looks at a place like Gaza and decides it must be theirs. The Age of Conquest. In 332 BCE, Alexander the Great arrived. Gaza resisted, not for days, but for months. It was one of the few cities that dared to stand against him. But resistance came at a price. When the city fell, it was destroyed. This moment set a pattern that would echo through history. Gaza would rise, and then fall, rebuilt, and then broken again. After Alexander came the Romans. Under Roman rule, Gaza became prosperous once more. Trade returned, markets expanded, roads connected it to a wider world. Then came the Byzantine period, where religion reshaped the identity of the city. Churches were built, communities reorganized, life adapted. And that's the constant thread here. Not stability, but adaptation. Because in Gaza, change doesn't arrive slowly. It arrives suddenly, and it demands everything. Centuries of relative calm. In the 7th century, another transformation. Islamic rule spread across the region. Gaza became part of a new world, linked by language, faith, and trade. For centuries, under various Islamic dynasties and later the Ottoman Empire, life in Gaza followed a slower rhythm. Markets opened and closed. Farmers worked the land. Families built lives over generations. It wasn't free of hardship. No place ever is. But compared to the chaos before and the instability that would come later, this period offered something rare: continuity, predictability, a sense that tomorrow might look like today. The breaking point of modern history. That sense didn't last. In the early 20th century, the world changed. Empires collapsed. Borders were redrawn. During World War I, the Ottoman Empire fell, and Gaza became part of British-controlled Palestine. This is where modern tensions begin to take shape. New political realities emerged. New migrations began. And the region became increasingly divided, not just by geography, but by identity and expectation. Decisions made in distant capitals began to reshape life on the ground, and the effects of those decisions would echo for generations. Displacement and transformation. In 1948, everything accelerated. The creation of Israel and the Arab-Israeli War of 1948 reshaped the entire region. Gaza changed overnight. What had been a small coastal city became a place of refuge. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians arrived, displaced from their homes. Temporary camps were built, but temporary became permanent. Population density surged, and infrastructure struggled to keep up. And Gaza began to transform into something new. Not just a city, but one of the most crowded and complex human environments in the world. Generations grew up not where their families began, but where history had pushed them. Control, conflict, and constraint. In 1967, another turning point, the Six-Day War. Gaza came under Israeli control, and with that, a new reality began. Movement became restricted. Economic life became constrained. Opportunities narrowed. Over time, systems of control shaped daily existence. What was once a crossroads of movement became a place defined by limitation. And yet, life continued. Markets still open, families still gathered, communities adapted because they had done so for thousands of years. The modern era of isolation. In 2005, Israel withdrew its settlements from Gaza, but the story didn't end there. In 2007, Hamas took control. Soon after, a blockade was imposed by Israel and Egypt, and Gaza entered a new phase, one defined not just by conflict, but by isolation. Movement in and out became heavily restricted. Economic conditions worsened, infrastructure struggled under pressure, and daily life became a balance between endurance and uncertainty. Electricity could be inconsistent, resources limited, opportunities scarce, and yet millions of people continue to live here, a place that endures. So what is Gaza really? It is not just a conflict zone. It is not just a headline. It is a place where history has never stopped moving. A place shaped by empires, transformed by war, and sustained by the people who remain. To live in Gaza is to live inside history, to feel its weight in the present moment. But it is also to prove something again and again, that even in places shaped by constant change, life does not disappear. It adapts, it persists, it continues. The Lito. Because in Gaza, history is not just something that happened, it is something that is still happening.